Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Driving Cheap with Jeff. On today's video, I'm going to show you how to get results like this on your plastic front bumper out of an old junkyard bumper that had cracks and holes. This bumper here is actually in better shape than that black one was. That had dents. I had to heat out with a heat gun. Cracks, holes from the brush guard, because that used to be a police car. It had a lot. I had to melt that, had to do a lot of melting and reconstituting of the plastic to get that smooth and straight. And I used Bondo and body filler glazing compound on it too, and it stuck just fine. And I was able to sand it out just like I was the rest of the car. So first, I'll show you what I like to do, which makes it a lot easier. Well, you go around with a permanent marker and you find all your damaged areas after you remove all your accessories. First, you take everything out of the bumper, drill out. I'd use a drill. Had a couple damaged pieces that had that were riveted on, and I use these little grinding wheels. I just have the cheap Harbor Freight grinding wheels with a point. It's nice to get in on the angles and stuff. Like right here, this piece is broken off, so I clipped it, and I mark everything with a Sharpie, well, the places I want to fix first. I grind the paint off, and this is cracked, like this whole piece had broken off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to melt together what I can with the with this Harbor Freight iron, which I don't even think I plugged it in yet, so we'll let this warm up. So, great tool. I think I spent $21 on that. Only thing you have to remember is if you push down too hard, you just have to rotate it, because this gets really soft on the end. But it works great. I've used the plastic that they provide, and it's pretty good plastic. Sometimes with the harder plastics, I like to find a piece of broken plastic from something else and just use that for the really hard plastics. But something like this is very similar to this, and it's good to use just as a filler. And places like this where it's cracked, like this bumper here, it only has a couple small cracks and small areas that need to be repaired, but it's really not that bad. I mainly bought this for all the accessories that were in the bumper, and it's one of those parts where if I could resell it all in one, if I could sell this stuff together, it would be better. But if I don't sell it, I'll just use it on something that I find. Probably another retired police car. So, oh yeah, with grinding, you definitely want to have a set of safety glasses. You can have little bits of plastic and paint, and you don't want to get this stuff in your eyes if you can help it. All right, so sometimes I like to not heat up the cracks with a heat gun. I also have a heat gun out here. See how this needs to be straightened out? That can be done with a heat gun and like a piece of wood, and just kind of bending it back. But what I did was I was able to kind of butt the cracks up against each other where it cracked here, and you can just kind of hold the iron in there and just kind of take the material. All right, I don't want to push down too much on it. Let's see. Yeah, so you can just take the iron and kind of set it down in the crack. You're not just trying to cover it over, you're trying to pretty much melt the plastic all the way out. And then where it's kind of half cracked, you can take the iron and just kind of press it in. And working it like this is great for plastic that has a where like you have to hold it together with tension. You just kind of hold the tip into it, and it's kind of like, it's like you're trying to burn a hole in it. And this really Yeah, this really works really well. So I'll go through and do this, and then I'll just go back through and do the opposite. I might even do the opposite on the other side. But you can see, I'm gonna be able to hold the iron right here against it. I don't want to burn any significant holes in it, but all this we're going to be able to straighten back out. Come out pretty good. We'll leave this alone for a minute. We'll go over here where I've used the vice grips to clamp this little piece right here. This whole piece just broke off right here. So first we're going to fuse where the vice grips are holding. And a little metal clip slides over this for a bolt to go through. Probably have to add a little plastic to this one. This is actually a lot of fun. I enjoy doing this. Try to get a little strength right here. It's a cracked right here. And just keeping in mind, you could pretty much smooth anything out to try to get the shape back. It's not difficult to get the shape that you originally had back. So let me work on this for a few minutes. I'll get back with you. All right, so that took me over about eight minutes, and I already slid the metal sleeve over this. You can see this is strong right here. This is really strong. It's exactly where it's supposed to go. I mean, I just kind of pushed into it, skipping spaces. And once it dries, after about 30 seconds, once it dries, 30, 40 seconds, you go back in and just smooth into it. And you try to get to the other side of it, because this broke off all here, here, and right here. Now that's back. This was a crack, and it split all the way from here around down into here. And I just pushed little holes in it, and then smoothed it back out, and then went back on the other side and did the same thing. And this is strong. The only thing it's going to need, I'm going to need to use my old Black & Decker heat gun, straighten that, kind of take the bend out of it. You just got a little, straighten that out. So we'll heat this up and straighten it. And I thought about filling it, but you know what? I don't think I'm going to fill this because the consistency of the plastic's a little different. When I use the heat gun, I'll at least want to straighten this first before I use the heat gun. I'll make sure that this is as straight as I could get it. Same with right here. Could take some pliers and a heat gun, probably these little vice grips, and just heat this up a lot, and then just kind of straighten it. Actually, I think I have a bigger pair, a wide end pair of pliers that'll work well for this. Same with right here. It's kind of pushed out a little bit. Heat all this up, straighten it out. All right, so I filled it in some more on the inside and on the outside. And I think after it's fully hardened, once it cools off, I'm gonna take a grinder, just a grinding wheel, and just grind it down. But you can see it's strong. I mean, that's gonna stay. That's fine. So that's a good repair right there. Let's do a little grind. And we heated this up nice and straight. And it's difficult to get all this stuff straight. We have another one that's a little more difficult, which we removed the light from. We took the light out of it. And you'll see, we're gonna fuse this seam right here where it cracked. So this is completely separated all the way out. So we're gonna get both sides. I'm gonna weld this right up. So let me clamp it and get to welding. All right, so I've clamped this together with my vice grips. I'll just let it cool off for a minute. Let it cool for just a minute. And oh yeah, it's already dry. So I just burn these holes, skipped a space all the way through. Let me unclamp this, see what we got. Bingo, look at that. held together. This crack right here. So now, back up here, and we'll work this together, but I am gonna have to hold it. Looks like I'm gonna have to lift it up just a little bit. Okay, perfect. Look at this. I was able to lift this up and just kind of adjust it, and the tension's enough to where I can get this right on here. See, just gently burn a little hole in it. There. And another one right here. Kind of angle it so it's right in there. You can work it from both sides. That's pretty good. Now we can fill that in. No big deal. Got it from the other side too. Right in there. Such a nice day out today. It's been so hot. It's comfortable under this tree. Now I'll just go back in and smooth all this out. All right, well, this came out pretty nice. What I did with this, I just melted this crack on both sides. I melted it on both sides. And see a little bit, just mostly got it through on the outside, all the way around. This is all the way as strong as it was. This is absolutely perfect right here. And the light will go right back in. I have to fill this hole, there's a little hole right here. I'll fill that in. But that's nothing for this Harbor Freight plastic welder. Oh, look at that. It might need a little bit of body work, but not much. So now I'm gonna fill that in. All right. So I didn't notice this before, but I need to reshape this hole right here. So I'm gonna take some of that plastic, try to bridge it through here. I might use this piece of metal as a mold to kind of hold it up until I can get to the other side. This is gonna work perfectly. We're trying to get a shape. So try to melt one side and take the flat piece of metal off and melt it in on the other side. All right, so we got everything cleaned up. My Harbor Freight plastic welder broke, and this is usually what happens if you leave it plugged in for a really long time. The tip breaks off the end. The last one I had, it broke, but I've used it a lot. They break off in there. You can't get them out, so I'll go buy another one. But it did a pretty good job. Filled a little hole in there, ground it down. If there was a crack here, fix that. Where else? Across the top. There's no damage up here. Right here, you can see that this was actually completely broken out, and I just used that metal to shape it. Fix this crack here. Plastic welded this little piece right here. Then this tab, yeah, I fixed this tab. Well, I gotta grind that. Just get a little grinding. You can see right here where that's all plastic welded. And that's fine. Tip it over. See where we've straightened all this out. That's all repaired. Might heat this up a little bit more right there. Besides that, it's pretty much perfect. And most people are gonna put fog lights when you do any kind of swap, you put fog lights in anyways. This is the only thing I couldn't fix because I broke my plastic welder. I sort of fixed this one with pieces of metal going. That's from backing up on a curb, on a parking barrier. Breaks this away from the vents for your front disc brakes. See where I broke these out too. Those are broke out. But actually, maybe the metal slides might just stay in there. I don't know. We'll give it a try. So hopefully you like this video on plastic welding. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.